for night court. Violent crime continuing to spike in Minneapolis, where the city and its Democratic Mayor Jacob Frey are facing a lawsuit tonight, claiming the push to defund the police has made the city less safe. The lawsuit accuses Minneapolis of operating outside a charter that requires a minimum number of officers per citizen and blames city council pledges to dismantle the police for a mass exodus of officers leaving the department. Meanwhile, Mayor Frey says he's trying to strike a balance between accountability and massive police reform. So let's talk about the case with tonight's Legal Eagles, the co-chair of the Hometown Values PAC, attorney Ethan Behrman, and criminal defense attorney David Bruno. Welcome back to you both.
Hello, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
So, Exhibit A, Ethan, this goes to you. The complaint from these number of people there who live in Minneapolis who say our neighborhoods aren't safe anymore. They say the mayor has failed to employ at least 0.0017 employees of the police force per resident of Minneapolis. That would be 743 licensed peace officers pursuant to a city chapter. The current number employed on the police force is 634 or fewer. So, Ethan, they say they're not keeping up with the city charter to keep enough officers on board to keep the city safe.
Yeah, the problem in the plaintiff's complaint in paragraph 29 that you're citing there, City Charter Section 7.3A and 7.3C, never says employ, it says fund. And so the clear language of the statute in the city charter is fund. It doesn't say anything about employ. So I think they're going to have a major issue as this case moves forward, that the city council is providing the funding, is taxing per the city charter, and the city charter leaves it up to the mayor, who has the authority to make hire fire decisions. And again, the word employ is not there. That doesn't mean that there aren't genuine concerns here. This just isn't the right approach. I don't think it succeeds.
Yeah, and there is a memo out there. One of the legal groups that's involved with this has put this memo online. They says it comes from Eric Nilsson last August when they were having this conversation. He was the interim Minneapolis city attorney at the time, and he said what Ethan says. This is our Exhibit B. Section 7.3 of the city charter requires the city council to fund a police force of at least 0.0017 employees per resident, but does not require that all of those positions be filled at any given time. David.
Yeah, I disagree, and I'm on the plaintiff side on this one. I mean, fund, employ, the fact of the matter is the charter requires a certain amount of police officers there. And you know what? If it wasn't for the charter, the United States Supreme Court has said essentially that police are not obligated to provide protection to the citizens. So if it were not for the charter, I think I'd be on Ethan's side on this one. But I disagree on the interpretation of what fund versus employ actually means, and I think that the plaintiffs will be victorious in the case.
So, Ethan, part of their argument they're making is they don't feel safe in their neighborhoods. They say this talk of defunding the police is also making it tough to retain people, to hire police, and so that there's more that goes into this. Even if they meet technically what the charter says, they're driving officers away with this conversation, and that means they can't keep it staffed, and that in turn ends to the same result, which they say is their neighborhoods are less safe.
You know, that's an interesting argument, and this happens across the United States whenever police departments make changes or another police department raises wages, that it can be tough to recruit and retain police officers. But I just want to point out, Shannon, you know, I'm from the Minneapolis area originally, so before coming on air tonight, I actually called my mom, who lives in Minneapolis, and I just asked her very generally, you know, have you been feeling less safe over the last year? And she's of retirement age, and she says she walks around during the day, all different neighborhoods in the city of Minneapolis. She said, you know what, I don't go out at night at 2 a.m. at the bars, so maybe I'm not seeing that side of the trouble, but the streets are no less safe than they were a year or two ago. This is from residents in Minneapolis.
Okay, so the mayor says there that he is rolling out a plan, David, that will staff up, try to bring more people on board, more officers on board. He's working towards that and trying to find this balance between funding decisions in the city, but also making sure there are more officers. He says he's working on it.
Yeah, great. Ethan, good to hear that your grandma's doing well and she doesn't see the crime. But the stats, they don't lie. Violence is up 2 times. Homicides are up 2 times in the city. You know, so and that's what happens, unfortunately, when you get less police officers out there, there's less deterrence out there, there's less prevention. Now, I'm a homicide prosecutor myself. I worked with victims while I prosecuted cases. and victims need help when they do, and you can't just predict when they will.
Okay.
And hopefully those police officers are out there to save lives and help people that are in distress.
Ethan's mom, if you happen to be watching him, hello to you, and we're glad you are safe, at least in your neighborhood. We're going to watch this case. I think it's a really unique legal theory and argument. So Ethan and David, thanks for helping us flesh it out.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Shannon.